Killer who kicked mum to death freed after 2 years despite victim's family being told he'd never be released. A fiend handed the same sentence as schizophrenic triple killer Valdo Calocane has been freed after just 2 years. Humphrey Burke got an indefinite hospital order for kicking prison van attendant Lorraine Barwell to death. Like Calocane's case, a court let Lorraine's family believe the monster would never be let out. But Burke, 30, has been pictured by the Sun grocery shopping and working out at a packed gym after officials passed him fit for release. His psychiatric hospital sentence came after prosecutors accepted his guilty plea to manslaughter on the grounds of diminished responsibility. This meant that, like Nottingham knife killer Calocane, he avoided a full jury trial on murder charges. Burke's release has highlighted the legal loopholes that could see Calocane back on the streets. Barnaby Webber, Grace O'Malley-Kumar, both 19, and Ian Coates, 65, were stabbed to death by Calocane, 32, in Nottingham last June. Barnaby's mum Emma, on behalf of the victims' families, insisted, "It's enough to put the fear of God into us, that this monster Calocane could be out one day. It doesn't matter if it's 3 years, or even 20 or 30 years, he should never be let out." We strongly dispute the manslaughter sentence, and this basically reaffirms everything we have feared all along. The victims' families all said they were very alarmed to hear the news. Burke attacked Gran Lorraine, 54, in 2015 as she escorted him from his cell at London's Blackfriars Crown Court, where he was due to be sentenced over a clawhammer attack at a Ladbrokes bookies. He knocked her down with one kick, then delivered a second that shattered her jaw, causing a brain hemorrhage. The Serco worker died in hospital 2 days later from catastrophic brain injuries. Burke was deemed mentally unfit to stand trial at the time and was sent to Broadmoor for treatment after a trial of the facts decided he had caused Lorraine's death. But by 2022 he was well enough to enter pleas and admitted manslaughter with diminished responsibility at the Old Bailey. He was sentenced to an indefinite hospital order at a medium security site. Under sentencing guidelines, those held at such units can be considered for release at set times if they show improvement in their mental condition. Burke's release would have been approved by a clinician, which would also be a starting point for Calocane, who must also get secondary approval from a panel or the Justice Minister. Lorraine's family expected Burke to be behind bars for life, but officials have allowed him to roam unsupervised after just 24 months. He has been seen buying snacks from Sainsbury's and the Co-op in Oxford, and even attending sessions at a boxing gym. Lorraine's brother Paul Kirkley, 53, blasted, "We were led to believe Burke would never be let out, but there he is. How can Burke stamp my sister to death and just be out in the supermarket and going to the gym years later like nothing has happened? We wanted a murder conviction at the time, and look at what's happened. As soon as they get diminished, they are on an easy life. That's not justice for my sister. Lorraine deserved better. The safety of people working in her position has to be sacred. Prisoners have to see them as untouchable." Health worker Paul added, "It's the same for the poor families of those Nottingham victims. They are rightfully furious about what has gone on. They will now see this and be living in fear that the monster who took their family will be back on the streets in years. Like us, they've been told he'll never be free, but look what's happened. My message to those families is keep pushing, push for the punishment he deserves. Keep fighting for justice, because if in 3 years' time you see Calocane shopping at Sainsbury's, you'll feel sick. It will break your heart, like your loved ones died for nothing. This is sending the message to people that they can commit murder and there is a way out. We all know what to say, to take the easy way out. These killers are making a mockery of the system." At the time of Burke's sentence, Lorraine's family blasted, "We will never accept manslaughter, we will only ever accept it as murder." Her daughter said, "Humphrey Burke will never be able to comprehend the damage done to my mum or my family. No sentence will ever be enough to compensate the loss we have suffered. He still took a life. He does not and should not be allowed to forget that, as we never will. Calocane was last week sentenced to an indefinite stay at Ashworth, a high-security secure hospital. His victims' families claimed they had been railroaded into accepting his lesser manslaughter plea. 7 reviews are ongoing into the handling of Calocane's case. The Attorney General's office is looking at whether his sentence was too soft and the decision by prosecutors to accept manslaughter pleas. There are also 2 reviews into the mental health trust treating Calocane, 2 referrals to the Independent Office for Police Conduct and a College of Policing review. An MOJ spokesman said the matter was for the Mental Health Trust treating Burke to comment. A spokesman for Oxford Health Mental Care Trust said, "Due to patient confidentiality, we do not comment on, or confirm the identities of those in our care. However, we can say that if a person is being cared for by us as a result of a placement into mental health services rather than a prison sentence, part of their therapeutic time may well be spent in the community as opposed to being on a ward all the time."